Hi, this is Alex Zolt with Millsap Independent School District. Today I'll be demonstrating on how to set up a test in Canvas. So first we're going to launch our Chrome browser. We always want to use Chrome because Chrome works best with Canvas. So we're going to go to Millsap ISD and then get into Canvas from there. And we'll go to our quick links and launch that. And remember, we're going to use our Google authentication, so it's important that you use your Google credentials, and that should take you right to your account. Um, so if I was to create a test here, I'd go to a module I was going to do that in and create a new uh, instance, and then come down here to quiz. Now, just because it calls it a quiz doesn't mean it's not an assessment of some type. You could actually make this a regular multiple, make this an assessment that's not really a quiz or test, but they call them quizzes in Canvas. And I could just call this test for this purpose. Now, it's named it. It's not published, so it's not showing. And then I'm just going to click to get into this. All right. And this is where all the magic happens. And so I'm going to click Edit here so I can start manipulating it. All right. And this will have the instructions. Now, the beauty of this is I can actually link or put something in here. And so if I wanted to put a picture here of something or a little cartoon, reduce a little anxiety, I could do that. Or I could link a URL in here if I wanted them to go somewhere and see something, read a poem or something to explicate. There's a lot of things you can do with this here. Um, or I can just put the directions that I want them to follow, give them, you're going to have X amount of time, or this is unlimited. You can do this as many times as you want until you pass it. Whatever you want, you can put the directions here. And then here, shuffle answers. Keep in mind, if you're going to shuffle answers, you don't want to do something like A and B or C because it's going to shuffle those. So you could put, so if A both A. So if, say the following are things that make up rain, you don't want to see A, B, and C are both possible answers. You might say dust, water, and other elements in the atmosphere. You put those actual elements because when it shuffles, then you don't know what order they're going to be in. So that's what shuffling does. So keep that in mind. Time limit will limit how much you have. Keep in mind if you're doing this for class, how much time is available in the class. How much time are you going to take to do any explaining? How much time is it going to take for them to get their devices ready? All of that. So that's something to consider. Allow multiple attempts. This is where you say you can take this as many times as you want until you pass it. Well, that's where you're going to put that. And if I click on that, if you want to keep the highest score, you can do that, latest, or average, whatever. And then how many attempts, you can stipulate that, or you can leave it open. So there's a lot there with that. If your goal is just to master material, this is a great way to do that. And that's your option. Down here, let the students see their quiz responses. This is good if you want them to see what they've messed up to fix it. It's also a good way for them to cheat if they don't know the answers, to go back to figure out what am I missing, write it down. So if you do that, you definitely want to do this, the shuffle answers. I also like to change the questions too, so that it requires them to think, so they can't just go back and plug in a different set of answers. Okay, so I want them to know the material, and if they understand what they're, if the idea is for them to go back and master the content, I truly want them to master it. I don't want them to just exhaust the options. So this is a great way to do that. Show correct answers at. I'll do this after everybody's taken the test. That way they can go back and look and see what they got wrong and why they got wrong. It gives us a chance to discuss without them, saying, "Oh gosh, I should have gotten that," and shouting out what the answer should be, because they're excited or they were really upset, or high correct answers at this time. So maybe you want your first period to see the correct answers, but you don't want them available for the next class, or to give them much time. So maybe they can look at them, but they're not available for anybody else. So show one question at a time. That's really good. It helps avoid cheating. They can only see one question at a time, and they can't go back to other questions. So it kind of forces them to concentrate and not rush through things. So that kind of slows things down. I'm in favor of the show one question at a time. I'm not in favor. You can't go back and change your answer. Sometimes going through the questions helps you realize that there are certain things that you thought wrong and you go back and change. Require an access code. That's kind of nice. If you have someone proctoring a test for you, someone's going to be out and you're going to be out, especially if you're coaching, you're sponsoring an activity, you're on a field trip. You have a student's going to be there, but it's not a time you're going to be there, but they're going to go to tutorials, and you have another teacher that can do that. You can give them the code. They can come to your room. You can have them take the test while you're supervising them. They're in there. They're in a supervised situation. They can take the test, and then once they've taken the test, they're done with it, and that code's no longer useful for anybody else. But you've had the code. They can take the test without having the code. So it's kind of nice. Filter IP addresses. You can get those from the technology department, and we can tell you which ones are available for like a computer lab or so forth. That takes a little planning, so please plan ahead and get that. Don't wait until 5 minutes before the test to decide you want to do that, please. And then assign to everyone. This is great for differentiation. If you have different courses and you have a Monday, Tuesday, Thursday class and a Monday, Wednesday, Friday class, your due dates might be different. So you can choose to assign it at a different time for one group and have it do different for another group. So I could add for one course section here and then add for the other course section here, have different due dates over the same test, which is really nice. And when you enter the different people or different courses here, this will change to everyone else, or it'll show section 1 or section 2 depending on what this. This will actually populate with who you have an actual name, so you can pick down to the student, and this is really good for differentiation when you have those students that have an IEP that says that they get an extra class period to do it. This is where you can differentiate, so it's really nice. When you're finished all these, then you can save, and if you're ready for it to be taken, you can save and publish. But I'd say for now, I like to lock my test down until I'm actually going to give it, or about 5 minutes before, so my students can't do it. Once you get everything where you want it, and I check it, then I go over here, go into my questions, add a new question, and this allows me to create a question. I put the question I want here and what type of question. All right, so multiple guess, true or false, fill in the blank, fill in the multiple blanks. So you have a lot of options here. The only thing it won't grade for you is the actual essay question. You're going to have to go in there and grade that yourself. But it lets you put it in there as a space marker, and it lets the student fill in an answer there. But you can't put an answer in there and have it grade. But everything else here pretty much will do that for you. So there's a lot of possibilities here. And then you put the possible answers here and where you want, and then the answer you want to be correct, you just click this as the correct answer. So I can go down here and change A, B, or C, D, wherever I want. And if I want to kind of coach my student, remember if they pick this here, I can kind of give a comment to little factoids that might help them understand why this may not be the best choice, or help clues to guide them towards the right answer. So usually when I'm at the test point, this isn't something I'm doing. But if I was doing a pre-test, I might do this. Or if I was just trying to prepare them for a test, I might do this. Okay. Once you've got that done, update question, and then new question, move on. And you can change these here. Look at your points too. Each one, how much the points are going to be worth. That's really important. If you're going to put an image here, this is where you're going to have to do it. Be real careful with images in these tests. they come out. If you're going to have something that look at this graph or look at this table, this is where you want to. If you're doing math and you want to put an equation in, this is the thing you have to do. It and kind of gives you different options to do that with. So there's a lot of power here. It's a little hard to show your work in this, so I don't know how you get them to do that, but they can come up with an answer. You can always have them submit their work on a different sheet, and just have this for quick grading, and then look at their work for how they got that answer. Just one way of making it work. So that's pretty much how you do that. Again, the things that I would do after I get that, save and publish once I get what I want done. And although I didn't put any questions here, I don't know if this is going to work. I thought mine. Once we do that, my suggestion always come to the settings and click on student view. Remember settings all the way down here in student view, and then click on your test and see, and I don't guess it made one because I really didn't do anything, but click on the test to see what that's going to look like and go through it. Just take the test, go through it, and see what comes up, especially with those multiple choice, matching, and see what little things pop up. It's just a good practice as a teacher to get the flow, how much time it's taken. It's probably going to take 3 times as long for them to answer a question as it will you. But get an idea of the flow, the questions, whether they're coming up the way you anticipated, because what you're seeing in this view is what they're going to say. Hopefully this is going to prepare you for these. This is a basic overview. If you need further help, please feel free to contact me and we can set up an appointment. Thank you and have a good day.